The barbecue was in full swing when the absurdity peaked, red and blue lights flashing down our sleepy cul-de-sac, silencing the hum of laughter and clinking glasses. Half my guests froze, forks hovering over plates. One guy dropped his ribs in shock. I stood there, tongs in hand, flipping brisket, as Karen, our HOA tyrant, posed triumphantly on her porch like she'd just called in a SWAT team. The emergency. My backyard cookout honoring Chief Ron Taylor's retirement. A man who'd served 30 years, saved my dog from a frozen creek, and once stopped a runaway golf cart with a traffic cone and sheer will. The guest list was a who's who of local legends. 3 captains, 5 lieutenants, the mayor's cousin, and the chief himself, all here to send him off right. That morning had dawned perfect. Warm sun, a gentle breeze, oak smoke curling through the air like a promise. I'd spent a month planning this, determined to give Ron the farewell he'd never asked for after he'd hinted at slipping out quietly on his last day. No way I'd let that happen. He deserved this. By noon, the setup was flawless. A smoker chugged in the yard's corner, tables draped in blue and gold for Ron's service colors, a jazz trio tuning up in the driveway, chairs scattered in a loose horseshoe. The neighborhood buzzed, well, most of it. Karen's blinds twitched across the fence, her eyes boring into the scene. Picture her, a woman fueled by rage, HOA rulebooks, and a messianic belief in her own authority, grass measured with rulers, wind chimes sighted for noise, her house a sterile shrine to order. So when balloons and chairs sprouted on my lawn, she pounced. At 1:17 p.m., she popped up at the fence like a sundressed meerkat, clutching laminated rules. "Large gatherings need HOA approval 72 hours in advance," she barked. I basted ribs, smiling. "Got city approval, Karen, and the HOA signed off last week. Jeff from Unit 5 handled it." Her face puckered like she'd bitten a lemon. "I wasn't notified." "Check your spam folder, you were on the email chain," I said, stifling a laugh. She hissed, "This isn't over," and vanished. Guests trickled in by 2:00, off-duty cops in polos, families with kids, a retired K-9 named Baxter sporting a party hat. The vibe was electric. Ron arrived at 3, stunned as we yelled, "Surprise!" The man who tackled a shoplifter with a ham teared up beside the brisket tray, perfect until sirens wailed. A patrol cruiser rolled up, lights flashing, and Karen strutted over, phone in one hand, a glass of what I'd bet was pure spite in the other. "Thank you, officers," she announced, loud enough for the block. "I reported an unauthorized gathering, fire hazard, excessive noise." The younger cop blinked. "Ma'am, you called this in?" "Yes," she snapped. "It violates HOA and county code." The second officer grinned, pointing at Ron. "So this is awkward. You just reported a disturbance at Chief Taylor's retirement party." Karen's jaw dropped, her kazoo-like gasp echoing as the reality hit. She'd called the cops on the police chief at his own send-off, surrounded by his own force. Ron stepped forward, calm but steely. "Karen, were you not invited? 6 years here and you didn't recognize me?" She floundered, fish-mouthed, as the cops chuckled. "Sorry for the interruption," one said to me. "Smells amazing, carry on." They left and Karen slunk back to her porch, blinds snapping shut. Ron clapped my shoulder. "Best party entrance ever." The music kicked back on, but I knew Karen wasn't done. Her twitching curtains promised round 2. The party roared back to life after Karen's cop-calling fiasco. Jazz notes danced through the air, kids chased bubbles, and Chief Taylor glowed amid the love he'd earned over decades. I flipped ribs, grinning as guests dug into smoked mac and cheese, the cul-de-sac alive with a joy Karen couldn't snuff out. Her blinds twitched like a metronome, each flicker a sign she was stewing, plotting her next move. By the time the trio's last song faded and I packed up leftover brisket, the night felt like a triumph. Ron hugged me, kids left chalk drawings on the driveway, and neighbors thanked me like I'd slain a dragon. But I knew better than to think Karen would let public humiliation slide. She didn't just take a loss, she weaponized it, brewing resentment overnight into something cold and sharp. Sure enough, the next morning, as I grabbed my mail, there she was, watering her lawn with a vengeance, hose aimed a tad too close to my mailbox. Her glare saying round 2 was already loaded. By lunchtime, an official-looking envelope slid under my door, HOA letterhead. Violation notice in bold red. I opened it and nearly laughed. Unapproved event, unauthorized charcoal use, public disturbance, and my favorite, excessive balloon usage. Fines stacked up to $1,300, every line signed by Karen Monroe, HOA secretary, with immediate action required double underlined like a battle cry. I had permits, emails, even a thank you note from the mayor stashed away, but this wasn't about rules. It was Karen rewriting her embarrassment, casting me as the villain. I called Jeff from Unit 5, who'd secured the HOA approval. "She called an emergency meeting last night," he said, voice low. "Claimed your party was a safety hazard, a bad look." Left out the part where she sixed cops on the chief. I rubbed my temples. "Anyone buy it?" Howard did, scared of her as always. The rest were confused. "She's pushing to revoke your permit retroactively and fine you, threatening fire department complaints about open flames." It was cartoonishly evil, almost funny, until the next day when a red SUV rolled up at 10:30. A fire marshal stepped out, clipboard in hand, scanning my yard like he expected a bonfire. "Morning," I said, stepping out. "Can I help you?" "Got a report about unsafe open flames, possible safety code violation. Mind if I look?" I smirked. "Let me guess, Karen," he half-smiled, non-committal. I led him to the backyard, showed the smoker's setup, safe distance from the house, extinguishers ready, plus the city permit and HOA emails. He nodded, then spotted a photo on the patio table, me and Ron with ribs. "Ron Taylor's retirement?" he asked. "Yep," he grinned. "He's my cousin, mentioned this party, said it was perfect." I exhaled. "Then you know it's legit." "Sure do, paperwork's solid too." He checked his clipboard. "All good, but I'll file the report for the complaint." "Want a rib?" He took one, waved at Karen's blinds, her mouthing "no, no" as he left and drove off. I thought logic might have won, but Karen doubled down. The next morning, another envelope. New charges, non-compliance with emergency inspection, unauthorized signage, balloons, obstruction of view, a banner allegedly blocking her sightline. Ridiculous, but it lit a fire in me. I scrubbed my security footage and struck gold. The night before the party, Karen sneaking into my yard, snapping photos, whispering into her phone, popping a balloon with glee, like a petty spy. I sent it to the HOA board and city council, a calm email attached. "Regarding recent citations, here's evidence of concerning behavior from a board member." The video screamed louder than any accusation I could have made. Karen's war was about to backfire. Karen's balloon-popping footage hit the HOA board and city council like a Molotov cocktail. My inbox exploded within an hour. Jeff's one-word reply, "Wow." Another member, "Is that Karen on your lawn?" The city clerk, a near stranger, wrote, "Thank you for this, it'll be reviewed immediately." I'd handed them a lit fuse, and the neighborhood was ready to ignite. By afternoon, the board called an emergency meeting. Not Karen's doing, but the community's, fueled by a dozen neighbors who'd replied with their own Karen horror stories. Grass measured with rulers, Halloween decor fined, a kid's lemonade stand shut down for unauthorized vending. People had simmered under her reign for years, waiting for a spark. I'd just lit it with a trespassed balloon. The meeting moved to the community center auditorium, the clubhouse too small for the crowd. I walked into a hum of murmurs and chair scooting. Karen already at the board table, scowl locked, bun tight as her rage. Jeff opened, mic tapping nervously. "We've had developments involving member conduct. After reviewing footage, we're discussing this publicly." Karen shot up, launching her defense. "I acted per the HOA charter in this community's best interest. If enforcing rules makes me unpopular, so be it, but they apply to everyone." Eye rolls swept the room. Someone muttered, "Here she goes." She pressed on. "Yes, I filed with the fire department, issued citations because I care. If others can't see that, they don't belong in leadership." Jeff cut in, staring her down. "Karen, you were caught trespassing, taking photos, destroying decorations. That's not caring, it's harassment." Laughter erupted as he added, "by popping balloons." Her lip curled. "You're making this a circus." Lisa, another member, raised a hand. "You've been warned about overstepping. This video plus 48 hours of complaints justifies disciplinary action." Karen's eyes widened. "What, you can't be serious?" "It's procedure," Lisa said coolly. "Present a defense if you want." Karen scanned the room, her usual bluster faltering. No allies met her gaze, not even Howard, who stared at the floor like it might save him. She muttered about bias and attacks, then sat, arms crossed so tight it looked painful. The vote rolled out, 5 hands up, unanimous. She was out as HOA secretary, barred from citations and board votes for a year. Applause broke loose, and Janice from Lot 12 handed out cupcakes. She'd brought them like she'd awaited this day for months. Karen stormed off mid-celebration, vowing appeals and lawyers. No one stopped her, the air lightened, free of her shadow. I figured she'd lick her wounds, but days later, a letter from an attorney's office taped to my door proved me wrong. She was suing me emotional distress, defamation, unlawful distribution of her private likeness. The footage had leaked online, not by me, but someone from the HOA chat, spawning memes, like her with the balloon captioned Operation Petty Strike. Court was a farce. Her lawyer, a parking ticket specialist by the look of him, painted her as a victim. My client suffered humiliation, harassment, a social breakdown due to the defendant's recklessness. The judge raised an eyebrow. She trespassed, popped decorations, filed false reports. Correct, the lawyer floundered. We believe she acted under duress. She called police on the chief of police's retirement party. The judge snapped, flipping files. This is a waste of time, case dismissed. She brought this on herself. Karen sat stone-faced, then ghosted out without a word. Back home, neighbors had planted a neighborhood MVP sign in my yard, balloons tied to it, no popping this time. I smiled, but knew her silence wasn't peace, it was a reload. Karen's courtroom loss should have been the end. Her balloon-popping shame dismissed, the judge's words a public spanking. But I knew she'd twist defeat into fuel. That night, neighbors turned my yard into a quiet victory lap. A neighborhood MVP sign, balloons swaying, a fire pit crackling as Jeff brought beer, Lisa chips, and Baxter the K9 snored on a chair. Chief Taylor stopped by, gave me a handshake that said it all, no words needed. Across the street, Karen's house stayed dark, blinds shut, porch light off like she'd retreated into her own bitterness. I savored the peace, ribs smoking gently, but her absence felt too deliberate. A week later, reality laughed at my optimism. I woke to a new surprise, another lawsuit, small claims this time, property damage, mental anguish from a hostile environment via community slander and intimidation. The intimidation, balloons from the MVP sign now triggering her stress. It was absurd, exhausting, but real. I strode into court armed, paperwork, neighbor support letters, doorbell cam clips, and a signed statement from Chief Taylor who'd offered to testify but settled for ink. Karen rolled in late, sunglasses indoors, folders stacked like she'd rewrite the law itself. Her new lawyer, a step down from the last, looking like he regretted the gig, faced a judge already frowning. "You're suing again?" he asked, peering over glasses. "For balloons, emotional distress, and reputation damage from a barbecue." Karen straightened, voice quivering with fake outrage. "It was a coordinated campaign to humiliate me, unauthorized gatherings, people laughing, children pointing at me on the street." The judge blinked. "Not a legal issue, that's public perception you caused by calling police on the chief's retirement party and trespassing." She bristled, but he waved her off. "I've seen the footage, read the statements. This court won't waste time on petty vendettas. Dismissed. If this continues, I'll recommend a restraining order." Clear, Karen nodded, stiff, silent, and marched out. The sunlight outside felt like freedom. No more citations, no courtroom circus. Word spread, and Friday night my backyard filled again, unplanned, organic. Neighbors brought snacks, drinks, a gavel-shaped cake. We huddled around the fire pit, laughter bouncing off the cul-de-sac. Jeff recounted Karen's wind chime ban attempt, Lisa taught kids s'mores, and Taylor dropped by, radiating quiet pride. Karen's windows stayed dark, no twitches, no scowls. I thought maybe she'd folded, but the next morning an envelope slipped into my mailbox. No sender, just 6 typed words. "Congratulations, you finally won, enjoy it." Her voice dripped from every letter, unsigned but unmistakable. I sipped coffee on my porch, watching kids bike past, dogs chase squirrels, a peace I hadn't felt in months. Still, her note wasn't surrender. It was a taunt, a bookmark for later. The HOA's next meeting shifted gears. No drama, just plans. Lisa pitched quarterly cookouts. Jeff suggested rotating yards, potluck style, unanimous yes. Then Lisa grinned at me. "You're hosting the first, right?" I laughed. "Yeah, let's do it." That Saturday, the smoker fired up, hickory smoke curling through the block. Lawn chairs sprouted, coolers dotted the grass, playlists mingled. It wasn't a rebellion or a flex, just neighbors who'd survived Karen's nonsense, stronger for it. Her blinds stayed still, no binoculars, no hose attacks. Maybe she'd accepted that control lost to connection, that respect came from kindness, not fines. As the fire pit popped and laughter rose, I leaned back with sweet tea, tasting victory, smoky, sweet, and hard one. Karen might lurk, but this round was mine. The cookout hummed with a carefree ease. Smoke drifted from the grill, kids darted between chairs, and neighbors swapped stories over cold drinks, the cul-de-sac alive with a warmth Karen couldn't touch. Her house loomed across the street, silent, blinds sealed, a tomb of her own making. That unsigned note, "Congratulations, you finally won. Enjoy it," sat in my junk drawer, a riddle I couldn't shake. It wasn't defeat, it was a dare, her way of saying she'd bide her time. I pushed it aside, focusing on the ribs, the laughter, the rare piece of a neighborhood unburdened by her clipboard. The HOA's new rhythm held, quarterly gatherings locked in, no more petty fines, just potlucks and plans. Hosting the first felt right, a quiet nod to the chaos we'd outlasted. But Karen's stillness gnawed at me. She wasn't gardening or reading self-help. She was scheming, her pride too jagged to let this lie. A week later, the first ripple hit. My doorbell cam pinged at 1 a.m. No figure, just my neighborhood MVP sign yanked from the dirt, balloons slashed, lying in a heap. I saved the clip, too dark to ID, but the timing reeked of her. I showed Jeff over coffee. "She's back," I said. He frowned. "No proof it's her, but yeah, it fits." I filed a police report. Vandalism, minor, but documented. The next day, a typed flyer landed in mailboxes. "Community safety at risk. Unregulated events threaten property values." No name, but her HOA jargon bled through every line. Neighbors grumbled, most saw through it, but a few nodded along, her whispers finding cracks. I countered with an email blast, party permits, Chief Taylor's statement, the judge's dismissals, facts over fear. The flyer faded, but the slashed balloons stayed fresh in my mind. Then my security app buzzed again. 3 a.m., a shadow at my fence, gloved hand snipping a string of lights I'd left up. Clearer this time, short, wiry, not Karen's frame, someone else. I sent it to the cops and HOA board, nodding the pattern. Jeff called an emergency meeting. "This is harassment," he said to the packed room. "We've got footage escalating since Karen's ouster." Lisa proposed a motion. Any proven proxy action tied to her meant a lifetime HOA ban. It passed 4-1. Howard, her last ally, dissented weakly. I met with a lawyer next day, showing the clips. "She's using someone," I said. "Restraining order," she nodded. "Enough for a temporary one, harassment via proxy. Get more evidence." I rigged motion sensors, floodlights. Next night, the shadow tripped them, bolted, caught mid-frame. Police traced a partial plate to a car registered 2 streets over, Karen's cousin, a petty ex-con. The restraining order landed. 100 yards from me, my property, no contact, direct or indirect. Served to her and the cousin, it hit like a brick. Her house stayed dark, no response, but the vandalism stopped cold. Neighbors rallied, some left supportive notes, others vowed to watch her place. The cookout spirit held, but I slept light, cams rolling. One evening, Jeff swung by. "She's telling folks she'll appeal the order, sue the HOA for bias." I shrugged. "Let her, my footage is a wall she can't climb." Peace settled, uneasy but real. Karen was cornered, her moves shrinking. I fired up the smoker again, just for me, ribs sizzling as I watched her blinds for a twitch that never came. Yet. The restraining order pinned Karen and her cousin in a legal chokehold. 100 yards from me, my home, no wiggle room, and the neighborhood exhaled. No more slashed balloons, no snipped lights. My cams caught only squirrels and late-night dog walkers. The cookout vibe lingered, neighbors dropped by with leftovers, swapped tailies of Karen's old antics, and kept an eye on her silent house. That dark facade, blinds locked tight, felt less like surrender and more like a coiled spring. The "congratulations, you finally won" note still rattled in my head, a taunt, not a truce. I'd won the round, sure, but her pride ran too deep to quit. Jeff texted updates. "She's griping to anyone who will listen, claims the order's unfair, HOA's rigged." I fired back. "She's got no play, cops, courts, footage all say otherwise." Still, I kept my sensors hot, lights primed. Peace was nice, but trust was off the table. Then a glitch, a 2 a.m. cam flickered just a second, but my smoker's cover was askew, a corner flapping. No figure, no proof, just enough to itch. I tightened security, added a lock to the smoker, angled a new cam, and waited. 2 nights later, jackpot, a figure hooded, not Karen's build, prying at the lock. Floodlights blazed, they bolted, caught mid-stride, face obscured but frame matching her cousin's wiry gait. I sent it to the police and board, flagged the restraining order breach. Cops picked him up, car matched, hoodie too, he claimed, a walk, but the timestamp sank him. Karen's proxy game crumbled. He got a night in lockup, she got a court date for violation. Jeff called after, board's pushing for her lifetime ban now, proxy proofs ironclad. The vote was swift, 5-0. Howard folded under the evidence avalanche. Her house hit the market days later. A for sale sign stabbed into her perfect lawn, a white flag I didn't buy. I checked records listed, no sale yet. Neighbors buzzed. She's fleeing. I wasn't convinced, too neat, too fast. My lawyer agreed. Could be a dodge, keep recording. I did, and caught her husband loading boxes at odd hours, her shadow packing behind blinds. No direct moves, but the vibe screamed regroup, not retreat. The next cookout rolled around, my yard again, smoker roaring, chairs sprawling. No citations, no flyers, just ribs, laughter, and a playlist drowning out her ghost. Chief Taylor swung by out of uniform, all smiles. Heard she's selling, you're doing? I shrugged. She did it to herself, called the wrong cops. He chuckled, grabbed a plate. Corinne's blinds stayed shut, no twitches, either she was gone or playing dead. Weeks passed, sale pending, records showed a buyer, closing soon. The cul-de-sac threw an impromptu goodbye to her reign, fire pit beers, kids roasting marshmallows. I leaned back, sweet tea in hand, watching her dark windows. She'd lost fines, ban, now her home, but that note that enjoy it lingered like smoke. Ray, a cop buddy, dropped a tip. She's in an apartment downtown, cousin two, quiet but not broke. I nodded down, not out. My cams hummed, my smoker rested, and the neighborhood breathed free. Victory tasted good, smoky and sharp, but I knew her type. Silence was strategy, not defeat. I'd savor the win, ribs and all, eyes open for her next shadow. Corinne, for sale, sign lingered like a bad omen, but the sale closed. Records confirmed it, new owners moving in. A couple with a toddler and a dog, all smiles and no rulebooks. The cul-de-sac shed her shadow, cookouts rolled on, my smoker a fixture, neighbors rotating yards with potlucks and playlists. No flyers, no slashed balloons, just peace or something close. Her downtown apartment intel from Ray kept me wary. Her and her cousin holed up, quiet but not broke. That congratulations, you finally won note still sat in my drawer, a splinter I couldn't ignore. Less a concession, more a promise. I'd beaten her at every turn, cops, courts, HOA ban, but her pride was a live wire sparking somewhere out of sight. My cams stayed live, floodlights ready. Victory was sweet, but I'd learned Corinne didn't fade, she festered. Then a ping, my app at 4 a.m., backyard cam, a drone, low and slow, buzzing over the smoker. Not a kid's toy, professional, sleek, hovering too long. I saved the clip, heart thumping, her cousin's ex-security tech vibe all over it. Police traced it, unregistered, no ID, but FAA rules banned it over my property without consent. I sent it to Jeff and Ray. She's back, air support this time. Jeff called a board huddle. Ray dug deeper, found a drone shop receipt, cash downtown, her cousins billed on their cam. Circumstantial, but stacking. The restraining order stretched, court added no aerial surveillance. 200 yards now, her and him tagged. She fought it, claimed ignorance, but the judge saw the pattern, granted no appeal. Her apartment went dark after, no sightings, no buzz. The neighborhood didn't blink, cookouts rolled, my yard hosting again, ribs smoking, kids chasing fireflies. New owners waved from her old porch, oblivious to the war it once housed. Jeff grinned over a beer. She's grounded, literally. I nodded, but kept my sensors hot. Ray checked in. She's still downtown, cousin two, neighbors say she's bitter, ranting about injustice. I smirked. Her losing streak was epic. Fines, ban, house, now wings clipped. The next gathering, Chief Taylor dropped by, rib in hand. Drone, huh? She's creative, I'll give her that. I laughed. Creative's one word for it. He clapped my shoulder. You've got this block locked down, proud of you. I toasted him with sweet tea, the fire pit snapping, but her silence felt heavy, strategy, not surrender. Months ticked by, cameras quiet, no shadows, no hums. The HOA rewrote rules, events streamlined, no balloon bans, just common sense. I leaned into it, hosting, grilling, living, victory solidifying, smoky and real. One night porch sitting, I replayed it, her cop call, my footage, her fall. She'd vowed regret, but I'd turned her game, rules, spite into my win, ribs and all. Neighbors dubbed me the brisket baron, a nod to the chaos I'd smoked out. Corinne was a ghost now, downtown diminished, her threats dulled by distance. Still, that note's enjoy it echoed, a taunt I'd meet if it ever flew back. For now my smoker purred, the cul-de-sac laughed, and I savored the calm, tongs ready for whatever she'd cook up next. Corinne's drone gambit fizzled, grounded by the restraining order's new teeth. 200 yards, no aerial tricks, and Sycamore Heights settled into a rhythm I could finally trust. Her old house buzzed with new life. The couple's toddler chased their pup across a lawn no longer ruled by rulers, and my smoker became the block's heartbeat, firing up for cookouts that drew chairs, coolers, and laughter like moths to flame. The HOA's new rules stuck, simple, sane, no balloon phobias, just neighbors living, not cowering. Ray's last update pegged her downtown, still with her cousin, still griping about injustice to anyone who'd listen, but her reach shrank, her venom dulled by distance and defeat. That "congratulations, you finally won" note yellowed in my drawer, a relic of her spite I'd stopped fearing, less a threat now, more a trophy. I'd smoked her out, cops, courts, footage, ribs, and the cul-de-sac was mine, hours free. Then a flicker, my cam pinged at midnight, just a shadow brushing the fence, gone fast. Too vague to pin, but enough to wake me fully. I tightened the net extra sensors, a decoy light strand, and caught it 3 nights later, a figure, not her, not cousin-sized, tossing a crumpled flyer over my gate. Floodlights flared, they bolted, hooded, untraceable, but I nabbed the paper. Beware unchecked gatherings, safety at stake. Her style, unsigned, a whisper from afar. I sent it to Jeff and Ray, no proof she'd breached the order, but her scent lingered. Jeff shrugged it off. She's toothless, let her yap. Ray dug anyway, found a burner email pushing similar flyers citywide, no direct tie. The board laughed it off, neighbors binned it. I filed it, cams rolling, her last gasp, maybe, or a new pawn. The next cookout rolled in my yard, smoker roaring, hickory thick in the air. Kids drew chalk cop badges on the drive, Chief Taylor swung by, grinning over ribs. She's a ghost now, your win's legend. I toasted him, sweet tea sweating in my grip. Her old windows stayed dark, new owners waving, oblivious to the war's echoes. The fire pit crackled, laughter rose, and the block felt whole, stronger for her fall. Months stretched, cameras quiet, no drones, no shadows. Ray's final word. She's off the grid, condos empty, cousin too. Gone, maybe for real. The HOA named me Brisket Baron, official-like, a plaque and all, for turning her reign into smoke. I hung it by the smoker, a quiet brag. One night, porch sitting, tea in hand, I traced it back. Her cop call sparking a saga, my footage felling her empire. She'd promised regret, but I'd flipped her game. Rules bent, spite burned, victory carved in brisket and calm. Her notes enjoy it faded to a hiss, drowned by cicadas and peace. Across the street, no blinds twitched. Her ghost was just that, a memory. I'd won, ribs and all, the cul-de-sac mine to grill on, laugh on, live on. She might lurk out there, plotting in some new shadow, but here now the smoke rose, the fire glowed, and I leaned back, tongs idle, savoring a win she couldn't touch, ready always for her next move if it ever dared land.